Ladies and gentlemen, it's 6 o'clock and we'll start and give ample time to this meeting tonight, but I will comment early before we start that the Ripley Tigers are playing at 7 o'clock. If they happen to win this game, they'll go to the state tournament. So we're proud of them so far and going to be proud of them tonight as well. So let's call this meeting to order. I'd ask our city recorder please to call roll.
Alderman Austin. Here. Alderman Chipman.
Here.
Alderman Davis.
Here.
Alderman Hankins.
Here.
Alderman Thompson.
Yes.
Alderman Treadway. Here. And Mayor Fisher.
Here.
All present.
We're at item 3, which is the invocation. Let's stand for the invocation and followed by the pledge of allegiance. Father, we're thankful for the opportunity you give us to serve. We ask that you guide us in everything we do. We thank you for those citizens that are attending here tonight and for all citizens of Ripley and Lauderdale County. And we look forward to serving them as, again, you would have us do. Protect us in our daily travels. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have 3 sets of minutes to go over. The first would be the February 5th, 2024 minutes as printed and delivered in your package.
I move we approve those minutes.
Mr. Hankins moves, Mr. Chipman seconds. Is there discussion on the February 5th minutes? If not, we'll vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. You adopt. All right, we'll move to item 6, February 20th. Minutes are as well in your package. Find those, have a look, and we'll stand ready for a motion. Ms. Austin moves, Ms. Treadway seconds. We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? I hear none, we'll vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. You adopt that. And item 7 is the February 2024 financial statement. It's with a couple of the largest packages in your largest part of the package. And we'll have a look at that and be ready for a motion when it's appropriate.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Hankins moves.
Second.
I heard Mr. Thompson with the second. We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? If not, we'll vote on the financial statement as printed and delivered. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. You adopt. All right, we're at item 8. This is a correspondence that we have received from Ms. Linda Love regarding Ripley Power and Light litigation. She has also filed notice that she would like to have a public comment, which is her right. So Ms. Love, would you? It's the same subject matter, so you just want to make your comments.
It's a little bit different. Would you please read the letter?
Well,
Or you want me to, I can read it. I can,
well, no, didn't want you to read it. We have some time limits on, how much.
well, I know, but you've allowed people to go over that time limit.
Well, not when we got a ball game.
Oh, so
No,
you're
ma'am.
gonna discriminate
No.
against me because of a ball game?
No.
Okay.
Look, what I'm trying to say is, do you want us to read the letter, or do you want to do both?
I can do both if you want.
Okay,
I can
all
read
right.
the
We'll
letter.
have to watch your time on that. Okay, I'll read the letter quickly.
Thank you.
Dear Mayor and Aldermen, on February 2nd, 2024, I delivered to the City of Ripley and the Ripley Power and Light a public records request asking for all fees, including insurance payments pertaining to the lawsuit going on between the two entities. I also asked for copies of all depositions involved in this suit. I was called on February 5th to pick the information up from Power and Light. I have yet to receive the information from the city. As of the date I received Power and Light's information, it shows $16,721.95 were paid to attorneys Simpson and Lilly for Chancery Court lawsuit, $43,551.73 to attorneys Miller and Martin because of the city attorney filing fraud charges with the comptroller's office, and $357,813.32 for federal lawsuit for a total of $418,087. Upon first hearing about the lawsuit, I thought it had something to do with the $400,000 that was put into Power and Light Superintendent's retirement in 2012, when Ms. Gwen Blackman and I attended one of their board meetings asking for that money to be returned to the pensions of all Power and Light employees. To my knowledge, that was done. In attending city meetings where I've been hearing about their suing for records information that Power and Light failed to give to the city, with Power and Light saying the records have been given to the city and perhaps they just have not read them. I've heard several rumors of reasons why this lawsuit is going on. One is that the Power and Light took money out of the Bank of Ripley, quote, the mayor's bank, and put it in another bank. When the mayor was first elected, I wrote a letter to the City Board of Aldermen about the conflict of interest with our money, the city's, and his being mayor. The aldermen did nothing about this conflict, and now we're facing expensive lawsuits for what? Another rumor, the mayor wants to get rid of Mike Alderman because he has too much control over Power and Light. Another rumor is that the city attorney, Rachel Jackson, has a vendetta against Mr. Mike Alderman ever since she represented his ex-wife in their divorce. I do not deal in rumors. That is why I've come to both entities asking for information from you. I'm sending you this letter for the same reason. I look forward to having questions of why are we, the citizens, paying what will probably be millions of dollars in lawsuits for what end, and how much will this increase our Power and Light rates as well as our tax rates? I look forward to your answers. Sincerely, Linda Love.
Okay.
Well, let's go here to the next item. Mayor's comments. The comments, I really don't have any comments tonight. I would indicate that I noticed in the local newspaper that, or maybe it wasn't the local newspaper, it was about the local newspaper that appeared in our county's monthly email, that the Lauderdale County Enterprise was recognized by the Commissioner of ECD as a business in this state that had been in business for 100 years. And he came down and presented them with a small little award for doing that. I think that's pretty significant. Both of them are not in the best of health, but they are continuing the enterprise, and I just think it's something that we ought to put on the record. That's all I have. We will now go to the department reports. Every month.
You're not gonna let me talk?
It's
You're
the
next,
next
you're next.
item.
You're
okay.
next, yes, ma'am.
All right.
As you well know, we have monthly reports that most everybody gives us every month, and we have the opportunity to look at those, but I also like to call on any of the superintendents for any particular thing that they want to bring out, and sometimes they will and sometimes they won't, but especially good news and bad news too, the public needs to know. So you have those before you, but I'll now ask, does any department head wish to make any comments tonight?
We have a park full of people.
A park full of people?
Park full of people.
Well, it's starting to be spring. I think we ought to make a comment about the construction going on down at your
We
park.
have pickleball courts that are getting in the groove. They're supposed to maybe pour some concrete, hopefully next Monday at the latest, Monday, Tuesday, next week. It's going good. Come by if you haven't had a chance.
And we expect those to be ready by maybe the end of May or something like
That's the
that.
plan. Yes, sir.
And those are provided by a grant for the Lauderdale County, City of Ripley and the Lauderdale County, I'm not sure the exact words, but it's the Health Committee. And they did a good job in providing funds for that. Anyone else?
Mayor, I make the motion to approve the
Mr.
department
Chairman
report.
makes the motion to approve the
I'll second.
reports. Mr. Hankins seconds. Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. You adopt. Thank you. Now, at item 11, Ms. Love, we recognize you for 3 minutes.
Thank you. I'd like to say that Ms. Buckner did give me the information that I requested Thursday afternoon. Thank you, Mrs. Buckner. I am actually concerned with this lawsuit because of the fact all the money that's being spent out on it is very concerning to me. The information that I got from Ms. Buckner on Thursday shows that you guys have already paid out almost over $1 million.
No.
It's $99,822.29.
That's 100,000.
Oh, that is 100, thank you, I'm sorry. But the point about it is we've got, I don't know how many attorneys that you're paying. You've got one that, Miss Amber, whatever her name, Ed Griffin Shaw. But anyway, on 2 of those things, she was charging $400 an hour. Then she goes on and she raises it to $450. And by the time we get through, because I'm looking at what Power and Light's paying, they have, up to the time they gave me their information, have paid out $418,087. This is going to be adding up more and more, and I'm trying to find out exactly what is the purpose of this lawsuit. Because I am so afraid it is going to make our taxes go up. It's going to also make our power and light bills go up. And if, I'm sure there's a lot of people right here in Ripley like I am on fixed income, and we're not going to be able to afford this. I remember one night after a board meeting, Mr. Davis was talking to Mr. Aldermen, and he was saying, I just wish this was over with. And I said, well, I'm concerned about how much it's going to cost. And Mr. Davis said, oh, you don't have to worry about that because we've got $4 million in reserve. Well, you may have $4 million in reserve, but if we're using it for this lawsuit, that reserve is going to be gone fast. So I'm concerned about what this lawsuit is about, if you can please tell me that. And I'm going to keep doing more studying on it so I can try to find out and get knowledgeable about what's really happening, because this is a lot of money that's being spent. And it seems like to me, it's a lawsuit that got started maybe with something that we already have, but nobody looked for it. So I don't know. I think this stuff needs to be addressed, and I'm sure if other citizens start finding out what's going on, they're probably going to want answers too. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate those comments, and this is the first time we've had use of the new law that requires us to do this. So thank you for providing that comment, Ms. Love. All right, item 12 is a consideration of the recommendations of the mayor for the DevCo board reappointments and the IDB appointments. The DevCo board has a good many people, you know, on it, and we're basically just reappointing those that their terms have expired. I think, do you have the list, a list that you can, is there a list in here too? Do you got that list?
Would that be included, the other 2 that you want to,
For the Industrial Development
Right.
Board,
is that included,
Will
the 2
be-
names?
and,
I think we already did those, didn't we?
No.
well,
We did
there's
those.
2 additional names for the Industrial Development Board, and then the Ripley Downtown Development.
Right, that's the
The
DevCo. That's the one
DevCo
we're
Board
doing.
is the reappointments, and then.
I just started with the DevCo,
Oh,
yes.
okay,
We'll
yes.
get to the others later.
So that would be David Cove. These are all current board members. David Cove, Maurice Gaines, Norman Hendren, Donna Buckner, Don Connell, Darren Kissel, Diana Theus, Will Douglas, and the mayor serves his term.
And for, I guess we can move
That-
to the.
Those would be reappointments, and then I believe the mayor
All
has
right.
something for.
Do we do a motion on those reappointments separate from the next one? Well, I'll make a motion that we approve those reappointments.
All right, I hear the motion from Alderman Hankins and a second by Alderman Chipman. Is there any discussion? There's no new names here. These are just sort of, we're getting it back together as far as the time.
That's DevCo.
All right, I hear no discussion. You ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. You adopt. Now, we're concerning with the IDB appointment. We had a little hiccup last time, who we thought was eligible was not because of the residency. So We have one position left on the IDB board. We did put Ms. Tyree, did we put Ms. Tyree on there last night? We didn't, okay. We just excluded that until this time. So there are two nominees for the two positions on the IDB board, new members. One would be Ms. Judy Tyree, and the other one would be our park ranger, Mr. Tidwell, Mr. Robbie Tidwell.
Make the motion.
Mr. Chipman moves,
I'll say.
Mr. Hankins seconds. So we have those two to put on the IDB, and we hope that, frankly, I'll just comment just a minute, that the IDB will become effective. We have some things in the air that are very good that we can't discuss right now, but we need to have our IDB board ready so that we can function when that time comes. Any other discussion on that? Is everybody clear now about, we did the DevCo board, that's the downtown, and this is for the two new members on the Industrial Development Board. And that's all we're doing for this particular motion. All right, we'll vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. You adopt. Thank you, and we'll notify them, and they're willing to serve. All right, we're at item 13. We have consideration. Are we ready to go on this one, Madam Recorder, on item 13?
For the Ripley Housing.
Ripley Housing.
I think the city attorney has some comments.
Well,
on that.
Let me just tell what we're talking about. It's a cooperative agreement between the Ripley Housing Authority and the city of Ripley in connection with the payment in lieu of taxes for the low-income housing tax credit projects. I recognize the city attorney.
Mr. Jones may want, do you have some particulars that you want to present to them? No?
I don't. The only thing that we're asking for is, we currently have an agreement in place with the city for Ripley Housing Authority to pay a pilot because we received this 9% tax credit for two of our properties. We have to pull that out and create a separate entity because the investors can't be an owner in the public entity, the Ripley Housing Authority. So we've created a separate entity. We would ask that you would consider doing the same agreement for this new entity that we're doing now. So essentially, instead of one pilot, we would have two. The payment would be the same. That's our only request.
Ma'am.
Well, this is the first time I've heard about a separate entity, and I'm not at all certain about the status of that. The agreement that I was sent to review addressed Ripley Housing Authority, and with the exception of one provision that I questioned with regard to the extent of the city's authority, I find no problem with the agreement. As to that one issue, I have reached out to MTAS. They typically have 3 legal consultants. One has just left her position and taken another position in state government, so they're down to 2, and one of those is out on leave. So I've reached out to the only one who's on the job right now, trying to ask about the question I had, and I've just not heard back from her yet. And so if you want to approve this, I would suggest that you approve it subject to MTAS indicating that the city does have the authority to enter into an agreement specifically that addresses the county's interests, because there's just a phrase in there that the city's acting also on behalf of the county, and that may be perfectly appropriate in pilot agreements, but until I hear back from MTAS, I'm not comfortable with that language. And so I would say if you want to approve it tonight, that you do it with regard to Ripley Housing Authority, but that you do it subject to MTAS ultimately approving that phrase.
That's your recommendation.
That's my recommendation.
I'll make the
As-
motion.
And And as to the other entity that's been created, I know, I've not heard anything about that until tonight, so I don't know any of the details of that.
So this current agreement that's on, in our agenda, this one is simply with Ripley Housing Authority. It doesn't deal with the other entity.
Well,
that
and
Mr.
that's
James
what
was talking about.
that's what Ms. Donna and I were talking about before. I don't know, I've been at the Housing Authority 10 years. I don't know, I have not seen any document that specifically addresses something that's been signed. We've just been doing this, you know, I guess as an understanding with the city. To Ms. Jackson's point, I think you'll find that it is within the rights of the city. We have, there's two major law firms in the state that work specifically with tax credit, and that's Reno and Kavanaugh, and that's our council. Bassberry and Sims is another one. They do all of the other towns, municipalities, Jackson, Franklin, Memphis, Chattanooga, Nashville. So, yeah, I don't have an issue with being subject to that. You know, we want to pay what we're supposed to pay, and we're not asking to pay any less than what we've been paying. We just want to divide it now, and we have to do that because the housing authority is a public body. Now that we have investors coming in to contribute money to this renovation, we have to have a private entity, that a limited partnership, and that's the investor being one, and Ripley Housing being the controlling partner in that entity.
Two or 3 points I'd like to ask about. Number one, there are other county cities that have done this within this state.
Yes, sir.
That
that agreement that Ms. Jackson and Ms. Buckner have is actually a template that Reno and Kavanaugh used off Franklin Housing Authority with the city of Franklin.
And the second thing is, as far as the county goes, have you made,
I have talked to Mayor Gaines and made him aware that we're going to be asking the city for a pilot. I do know there are a few housing authorities in the state that have pilots with counties, but most of them do not.
and it's appropriate for the city, in the normal pilot where taxes are reduced for a period of time, it's a city and a county.
And
This one does not work that way.
Yes, sir. The reason why we're asking for a reduced payment is because our rents are fixed. And typically, when costs go up and market rate, or private companies, they can raise their rents. Ours, we can't. They're set by HUD. And so typically, housing authorities will partner with the city to do that reduced rate to make the deals work, okay, for lack of a better term. This is about a $10 million investment we're going to put in Crescent and Chapel. And I think the city would, I know we're proud of it, and I feel quite certain you guys will be when you see the outcome of that.
And one of those is complete, is that right, or near complete?
We haven't started, no, sir, we have to have.
We did some kind of repairs on one where people could move back in. though.
No, that's Ripley
That was on
Terrace.
Ripley Terrace.
Terrace, okay. That's right.
This is Crescent Drive and Chapel Circle are the two oldest properties
Yeah.
in our portfolio. And that was, as we looked at it from our perspective, that was the two most in need right now.
Yeah, it's confusing those names.
And so we're waiting on two things. One, HUD to approve because we had to pull these two properties out and put them in a separate entity. We're waiting on them to sign off on that, and then for the city to approve the pilot.
And on a conversation I was with one of your people that are helping you, there was some question about that rate. Did we work that out to everybody's satisfaction? Okay.
We did,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Okay, great, good. And the final thing I'll say is, the MTS is not on our favorite list tonight because we had to postpone on another matter, a public hearing. So we hope they don't take as long on this, but.
I guess, Ms. Jackson, if they don't get back, I mean, would our attorney suffice if they can show you the
No,
Do we need-
because, no, in this instance, they are, MTAS is our technical legal consultant here, and I do want to hear back from them, and they are prompt about responding. It's not one of the legal consultants that failed to get us the document that we needed, that was otherwise supposed to be on the agenda. But even with only one of them working, I'd expect to hear back from Ms. O'Hara by tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
And so, again, if you all want to approve this, I suggest that you do it, subject to MTAS.
Well, that's the motion and the second that we
Yes.
have.
That's exactly
Yes.
right.
But my question is, would we be better off to table it until after you've heard these and dotted some i's or crossed some t's, or you comfortable with us just
I'd
going ahead?
say that's up to you all. I don't have any problem with the agreement, provided that
Okay.
MTAS indicates that there's the authority to act on behalf of the county.
But the
There's
wording of this
language
motion
here-
will make it to where if they don't, we're
That's
good.
correct, then there would be no
Okay.
approval.
We're not asking to do a pilot with the county. I've made Mayor Gaines aware that we're asking for the city only. I know it,
Specifically, the agreement reads,
it-
that the agreement is made and entered into between Ripley Housing Authority and the city of Ripley on behalf of itself and on behalf of Lauderdale County.
okay.
That's where I was.
And that's my
standing.
Yeah.
concern, on behalf
I
of
think that's a
Lauderdale
valid
County.
concern. I don't know if they took that, again, our attorney took that as a template from Franklin and Wilson County. I don't know if he just left that in there in error, but I would think that you don't have the authority to act on behalf of them.
And we don't have to make any kind of separate agreement with the separate entity?
Well,
Are we just
and,
calling that
and in
entity Ripley Housing Authority also for the moment?
The agreement will be with Chapel and Crescent LP.
I don't read that anywhere, I only read Ripley Housing Authority.
We are the controlling entity of the new partnership. Again, it's my understanding in talking to the attorneys, the only reason that we have to form a new entity is because we cannot take money, have an investor be a part owner in Ripley Housing because it is a public
Well,
company.
no, I understand that, but my question, I guess, to Ms. Jackson, if we agree to this with Ripley Housing Authority, does that mean we automatically agree to whatever the
well,
same thing is?
I
it'll-
just needed to say that there was a second one they were asking for, and that these
Yeah.
were two separate things. No, just one.
Just the one, yes, ma'am.
If it's in one pile, then that's why I'm saying
Then
maybe
I'm
we
not
should
at all
table this.
comfortable opining yet as to the propriety of a newly created entity. I mean, this is the first I'm hearing of that, and I don't know. I know what his concern is, because it's a concern that I've spit back out to Ms. Buckner on two, maybe three occasions. There's a provision in this agreement which indicates that no member, no official of the governing body, meaning the municipality, can have any interest in the project unless that, during their tenure and for 1 year thereafter, unless that interest existed prior to their tenure as a city official. And city official goes beyond, under Tennessee Code Annotated, city official goes beyond the elected members of the governing body. It's appointed members of any committees, any commissions, etc. And that's pretty broad, considering, think of the landowners that you've already talked about tonight in making appointments. I mean, that's pretty broad, but no interest whatsoever. So, I mean, there could be no security interest taken on the property, there could be no ownership interest, and I mean, so it's very broad. And so I see what he's trying to accomplish by having this separate entity. It's just that I'm only hearing of that now. That's not something I was at all aware of before he just spoke.
And that leads me to my question, if I'm just being daft here, forgive me, but should we pass the motion like it reads, with there not being
Well,
any second
I think
entity
he's
named?
indicating that's no longer what he wants,
Okay.
is the document as outlined.
What about I would send by motion, and then Paul will, to make a motion to table this to the next board meeting to give you more time.
Yeah.
I think that's in the best interest
Right.
of the
Let me just ask one question of him. One reason why we were attempting to do this at this point, because remember, the project is, and there's only a certain time for the tax credits.
Our goal was to start May 1st. We won't be able to start May 1st if it's taken. But, I mean, you know,
What is your, I mean, if these things get resolved in a week or so, we can call a special call meeting.
I think what I would ask is that, Ms. Jackson, if we can get you together with Reno and Kavanaugh, our attorney, Dwayne Barrett there, and maybe you can share your concerns with him, and we can address that and then call a special meeting. I would be okay with that.
Well, I'm sure she'll do whatever she can, and MTS,
I think
want to get on that.
I think, and Miss Donna, Miss Donna and myself, and then Reno and Kavanaugh have been going back and forth, and then I think Miss Jackson got the.
I guess I'm not clear on is, it's Ripley Housing Authority in this agreement, and it doesn't have anything specified as in the LPs. So,
That's my big one. Right?
Yeah,
limited
the
partnership.
The
So-
copy that I have, and again, I'm sorry, I got it late, it does say, the project shall be with Chapel and Crescent LP.
see, I don't have that.
That's not
That's what I was
I
telling
saw
you.
that they had sent a copy late this afternoon, but I didn't
Yeah.
see that they
No,
had changed.
I've not
it.
received that.
I'm fine with, if we can table that, I would just like, I will say, that one of my concerns about extending the project past May 1st, we're layering the money that we're receiving with a THDA grant that the Housing Authority received, and we have to have, it's $1.5 million, and we have to have the project completed at Chapel Circle by June of 2025, or we'll lose that $1.5 million.
Well, a couple of weeks won't matter to that.
Yeah, so, I mean, if we can get it started, that would be my only concern, and I think that's a valid concern. We don't want to push it to June or July and then don't have, but.
Yeah.
Well, I
I
think
understand that, so that's no problem.
I rescinded my motion, if Paul rescinded his second.
And he will, and your motion is that we continue this to the next meeting.
I'll absolutely
Is that
second
correct?
And
that.
if it could be resolved in 2 weeks, then we'll,
We'll seek a call meeting.
Yeah, I feel pretty certain we can, and that was probably my fault. I probably should have been asked Ms.
No fault.
I don't think it's
Jackson
anybody's fault, it's just,
to be part of that conversation before Friday or Thursday.
I didn't hear anything about second entity at all until tonight, so I didn't know, that's what put the brakes on me, like, hang on.
All right, we have that motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Everybody understands we're pushing this out to answer some legal questions, and if we get those answered in a short period of time, we will probably seek to call a special call meeting to
Absolutely, we don't want to.
present it to the board. Okay, that's the motion. And we'll ask for a vote now. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. You adopt. All right. Thank you very much. The next item. Well, let's see.
It's number 14, it's about the tower.
Okay, gotcha. Item 14, the consideration of a land lease agreement between Brian Robinson and Samantha Robinson and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Ripley for Ripley Gas, Water, and Wastewater Tower.
Scott, do you want to say anything about it?
We'll recognize a superintendent of our gas, water, and sewer.
We did a prop study for a new gas AMI system, and it's, what it consists of is creating a UHF frequency across the county to read our gas meters. That's the new technology that they've moved to since 15 years ago. So we lacked one location, which was in the Henning area, and we talked with Henning, and they decided not to allow us to use their tank. So we started looking for a tower site possibly, and I'll be honest with you, this was a blessing from the Lord, because when we were looking for a location, we found a high point, And then we found a piece of property, and we approached the property owner and asked him if we could actually build or have an easement, or buy a piece of property to build a tower on. And he said, sure, let's meet out on the site. And I called Paul and asked some restrictions on that. And so I found exactly where we need to put the tower to do it. Well, turns out when we actually went out to the site, he asked me, he said, have you visited this site? I said, no, sir, not yet. And there's a tower already there. So we had our guys come down from Master Meter to look at the tower, observe it. They checked it over and it looked great. And so we entered into we're looking at entering into a lease with them for $6,000 a year. And what this does is that the tower is already there. It'll be for the sole purpose of our meter department for 20 years. It's not something to last forever because technology changes about every 15 years, it seems. But this will allow us to have a site in that area to communicate for all the meters out in that area back to our system. And what the AMI system will do is the meters will wake up twice a day. The meters themselves record 12 readings on each upload. So it's 24 readings a day. And when they upload the readings, they're readily available in the cloud, on our secure cloud for our system. And when we decide to read meters, we just download the reads, is what we do. And it also produces reports such as leak reports, so we can know what customers have leaks, where, and so the technology has changed quite a bit. So, but this site would definitely be a site we're looking at leasing so that we can actually finish our AMI project.
Any questions to the superintendent? If not, excuse me.
I make the motion that we agree the lease agreement between Brian Robinson and Samantha Roberts for the way.
I'll second that.
Ms. Treadway moves.
That's a
Mr.
good break,
Hankins
man.
second. And I think by what you said, you think this is in the best interest of your department and the city and works even better than what you'd originally.
It's a 100-foot tower on a piece of property that we lease. It's already there. So
Great.
it's on a high point in the county too.
Any further comments or discussion by any member of the board? If not, we'll take a roll call on this one, please, ma'am.
Alderman Austin?
Yes.
Alderman Chipman?
Yeah.
Alderman Hankins?
Yes.
Alderman Davis?
Yes.
Alderman Thompson?
Yes.
Alderman Trebway?
Yes.
And Mayor Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Thank you.
Unanimous vote. Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
The next provision is item 15, the second reading ordinance adopting a municipal code ordinance. We don't have that because we're just not ready for that yet because of the people we talked about before, but they'll get it to us. We made great progress on those ordinances. We'll have a public meeting when we can. That seems to be the end of the agenda. Is there any further business to come before the board? Remember? See
I was trying to
none.
think of a holiday, but if there had been one, Margarita or Billy would have already mentioned, so no, sir, I think we're.
I would consider that a motion to adjourn.
That's what it is.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I said that.
And a second. We have a motion and a second to adjourn. And thank you for a good meeting. Thank you for comments of the members in the audience.
Oh, wait,
We
happy
stand
St.
adjourned to
Patrick's.
the call of the chair.
Happy St. Patrick's Day from Public Works.
Easter